Hello, Dan Carter.
Hello.
It is good to talk to you because I have admired your career for some time.
Oh, thank you.
And,
Thank
and
you.
from beyond the grave, when I represented Elvis, I thought now I need a new talent. And I saw you with your flashlight, the wonderful thing, and now I will represent you from beyond the grave.
This is the most exciting news I've ever had. I can't wait to tell my wife and everyone else that Colonel Tom Parker is going to be representing me.
I make the party starter, merchandise party starter, oven mitt party starter, toaster oven, anything in the kitchen, party starting is going to happen. We're going to have stickers that say, I love Darren Carter, stickers that say, I hate Darren Carter.
We're not going to be pushing a lot of volume, I don't think. But maybe with their help, things will change.
We're going. You'd be surprised. People are already asking just from hearing about them. People, I've gotten 300 emails. Where do I get my "I hate Darren Carter" stickers?
Oh, geez. And we're back, everybody. Another episode of the Pocket Party podcast. If you are in the San Francisco Bay Area, February 7th, I will be at the Throckmorton Theater in Mill Valley. Mill Valley, Throckmorton Theater, February 7th. I hope to see you. It'll be great to see my Bay Area fans again. And here on the line, we have Mr. Mike Black.
Hello, Dan Carter.
Hello, 2023. How are you, my friend?
It is good to talk to you because I have admired your career for some time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
From beyond the grave, when I represented Elvis, I thought now I need a new talent. And I saw you with your flashlight, the wonderful thing. And now I will represent you from beyond the grave.
This is the most exciting news I've ever had. I can't wait to tell my wife and everyone else that Colonel Tom Parker is going to be representing me. He's going to, that's okay, man. I figure, I know you get 50%. Do you still work with that scale?
It's a sliding scale. I get 75% and all the fat off of your bacon every morning.
That's cool. I'm into that. But what about the 75%? I mean, I'm got to be honest, I'm not making Elvis Presley money right now.
Look, you have enough to feed your wife and child, and the rest goes to promotion.
Oh.
I make the party starter, merchandise party starter, oven mitts, party starter, toaster oven, anything in the kitchen, party starting is going to happen. We're going to have stickers that say, I love Darren Carter, stickers that say, I hate Darren Carter. All the stickers.
What if, I got to be honest with you, what if the I hate Darren Carter sells more than the I love Darren Carter?
I make money either way. It's wonderful.
You mean we make money?
I make lots of money. Yes, I will make all the money.
I mean, I know, I hate to keep saying this Elvis thing, but I mean, you might sell 2 I hate Darren Carter stickers and 1 I love Darren. I think we're not going to be pushing a lot of volume, I don't think. But maybe with their help, things will change.
You'd be surprised. People are already asking. Just from hearing about them, I've gotten 300 emails. Where do I get my "I hate Darren Carter" stickers?
Oh, geez. Wow. They have emails up in heaven. I didn't know. That's amazing.
Not in heaven, but they have them where I am, yes.
Oh, okay. Is that where we get all the spam from? Does it come from down there also?
I'm sending all this spam. It's my spam.
Oh, wow. Well, okay. Do you mind? I got to click over and see if I can get. I tried to call Mike Black. Hold on. Is something? The wires must have got crossed somehow.
Yes. Carry on, my boy. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Hello. Is Mike Black there?
Yeah. Man, my phone got hacked.
Oh, dude, I hate when that happens.
Hey, Colonel Tom Parker.
Well, hey, if that's, I'd love to have a conversation with him. That'd be. I love in the movie when he was like, "You and I, we are the same. We are 2 lost, lonely children," or something like that, right?
Tom Hanks is a national treasure. Everyone knows that, but he was just outstanding in that movie. Man,
gosh, I know.
What a great performance! You forget that it's him.
Totally.
You think like, oh, that's just Colonel Tom Parker that they got.
And I'd heard enough stories about Tom Parker, and I'd seen a few interviews to where I bought all into it with the accent. I guess people who had never heard of him were like, "What is he talking weird for?" But I'm like, yeah, it's a good idea. It's a good representation of
They did such a good job on that movie. Like, I don't care whether you like Elvis or hate him. It's an interesting movie. It's really fascinating.
Absolutely.
And and he was so great in that part. I'd heard uh, all the like different crazy stories about that guy. If you really want to hear some great ones, watch that Tales from the Tour Bus,
Mm.
the Mike Judge series. Have you ever watched it?
I gotta find that on YouTube. Tales from the Tour Bus. And
Yeah, they're like little clips of it on YouTube. I think you have to get like HBO Max or something like
oh,
that.
uh-huh.
It's worth it. Just go like the next time they have a free trial. That's what everyone does, and just do the free trial and just watch all of them
Mm.
because it's such an amazing. He gets like basically everyone who's still alive. Like I think one whole season was like country and western, and one whole season was hip hop. And anyone who's still alive to tell the stories of these different people,
Yeah.
he gets. But then it's Mike Judge, so he animates the stories,
Oh,
and
it's
it's just
cool.
it's so amazing.
It brings it to
You,
life.
yeah,
Wow, I love
like
stuff
the
like
Jerry Lee Lewis one alone is worth the price of admission, just because like he has one of the guys that he like. There's a band member that he had that he shot because they got in an argument, and
Dang.
the guy's still alive, and he's like, "Yeah, he shot me," and blah blah blah. It's so nuts.
Those guys are crazy like that. You know, they. I remember. What's that guy's name? He's a country singer. He's Willie's friend. I'm just an old lump of coal. Billy Joe
Oh
Shaver.
yeah.
Billy Joe Shaver. I know
Uh,
Norm Macdonald used to quote him a lot and listen to him. And he actually shot a guy in Waco, Texas. You know,
yeah.
and I remember Willie made a song about it, or helped him write it, or something like that. Because Billy Joe Shaver had a song called "I'm a Wacko from Waco."
Yeah, I think I don't know if that guy's in there or not, but yeah, that sounds really familiar.
Let me look it up real quick. Billy Joe Shaver, Waco shooting. Billy Joe Shaver found not guilty for shooting. This is after a 3-day trial.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Willie Nelson went to trial. He goes, I don't think Billy Joe would do anything wrong. Whatever happened, I don't think it was Billy Joe's fault. Willie Nelson said. Yeah. Oh wow! Even Robert Duvall was there. Yeah. And then here's what the guy said. Here's what Billy Joe said. This is very country. Billy Joe says, I'm very sorry about the incident, Shaver said outside the courtroom. Hopefully things will work out where we become friends enough so that he gives me back my bullet. Damn. Wow. Wow. The singer pleaded self-defense, claiming Coker stirred his drink with a pocket blade, wiped it on Shaver's shirt, and asked him to come outside. I felt like he was going to kill me, Shaver testified. He was a big bully, the worst I've seen, a big bad one, and I had been all around the world. Wow, that's pretty interesting.
Damn.
Yeah, Shaver responded in his honky-tonk Texas drawl. If I was a chicken shit, I would have left.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you mind if I curse? Because there's some cursing in this article.
I'll be okay. I don't know about the listeners.
Shaver stopped into the Smoky Bar for a beer with his former wife, Wanda. Shaver testified Coker was rude to Wanda and told Shaver to shut the bleep up. After the two went outside, witness testified Shaver asked Coker, where do you want it? Then pointed a .22 pistol at Coker's cheek, pulled the trigger, and fled in his truck. When Shaver was asked on the stand if he shot Coker because Shaver was jealous the victim was talking Shaver's wife, Shaver laughed. I get more women than a passenger train can haul. Oh, gosh.
Wow.
Maybe that's why it's his ex-wife now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's got that great song. Shaver's song Live Forever was used prominently in Crazy Heart, and Johnny Cash, Elvis Presley, and Bob Dylan have recorded his music.
Damn.
That's hilarious. I'm going to live forever. That's that song. I don't know if you know it, but it's a good one, man.
But yeah, that's a hell of a story. But you got to understand, in Texas, people shoot each other all the time. It's a
Yeah.
normal thing. It doesn't mean anything. You can't take it personally.
Yeah, they're like, hey, you're mouthing off. You want me to introduce you to my cordless hole puncher? you know.
I remember my dad telling me about a relative we had, like an uncle, and he was like, "Yeah, that's your uncle Lonnie. He got shot in the lung." And I
Damn.
was like, "Oh, so he died? No, he lived another like 40 years."
Wow.
It's like, wow.
I know
We
you.
have,
There's people that have testified and said this, and also he admits it. Hank Jr. used to get so drunk on stage and put on a hell of a show in the '80s. He would fire off like a shotgun on from the stage.
yeah.
I don't know if it's over the crowd's head. I don't know what that is. I wouldn't want to be a part of that, to be honest with you. You know.
Well, you can still die. Even like
Exactly. It's like,
they learned that a long time ago that, if you fire your pistols into the night sky, the way gravity works is, equal
yeah.
and opposite force. That bullet's going to come down pretty hard.
I saw Hank Jr. in an interview once, and he said, he goes, hey, if you saw me in the '80s, you might have saw me taking my pistol out and shooting the monitor. Well, Hank didn't like the way the monitor sounded. So he's like, clack, clack, clack. You know, can you imagine if we did that at the Comedy Store or something? Just like,
Dice almost did, like a couple of times. He did the opposite of a country singer.
yeah.
Like the sound system wasn't working in the OR, and he bought them a new sound system. He was like, "I hate this sound system."
Oh, that's cool. That's
You
cool.
know,
That's a cool
yeah, that's.
man.
I like hearing about that. Like Robin Williams, I guess there was danger that the roof needed repair or something, and this was like maybe 2 years before he passed on. He did like a whole weekend at the store basically just to pay for it.
Oh.
Basically just to make sure that they were able to replace the roof. I love hearing about stuff like that when comics kind of like give back on places that they work.
Totally, especially when they can.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Imagine if the power how great that would feel to be like Mike Black. Homecoming, and then you go back home, do a show. Let them keep the door. You raise $40,000 for the local elementary school band, or the what I mean, the high school play, so they can get some, I don't know, or whatever it is,
that would be great.
a wing of a hospital. That's one of my goals, is to get to that level where we can do that. I
or like to keep Hooters open, something noble.
to keep something noble, to keep it open,
something to really help help out the community.
Yeah.
What about all these young kids that are never going to get to eat hot wings at Hooters?
Yeah. I saw
Who's looking out for them?
There was this girl that was trending on recently. She was a Hooters girl, and she was saying how much she made, and on some days it was like $300 in tips, and people were rethinking their own careers. They're like, maybe I should go to Hooters and be a Hooters girl. Like, that's not, especially if it's really busy and you're like, damn, I made like $1,500 this week.
Well, yeah. On the flip side of that, they also, for a long time, they notoriously had the bandana requirement, meaning if you could not tie a bandana around your waist, you could not work at Hooters.
Damn. I wonder if I could do that. I don't know.
They had a male Hooters employee, oddly enough, didn't get tipped as much.
They're like, you're good. You're good. Wouldn't that suck, dude? The one time we go to Hooters, we get a male employee.
Yeah,
like,
that would be.
Let's just go to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, you may as well at that point. Although, like, I really did. Sounds like I'm saying I read Playboy for the articles, but I really will say I did like the wings at Hooters. They were very, very good wings.
Did you know my buddy Toogie Jackson?
That name sounds real familiar, but I don't think.
Great guy, awesome sense of humor, really funny comedian. He was for years he was a chef at Hooters. He always laughs when I call him a chef. He was I knew him when I met him in La Jolla, down at the Comedy Store, and he was just a funny guy. He'd always come to the comedy shows, and everybody would encourage him to be a comedian, and he finally did it. And he used to work at like seafood restaurants and stuff. And here's how much of a fan he was. He would he knew who Mitzi Shore was, and he wasn't even a comedian. And so when Mitzi would come in, he'd always like hook her up with extra stuff, and you know,
Oh, that's awesome.
and anyways, he got into the Hooters world, and then they got him to open up other restaurants. They're like, hey, we have a new one in Seattle. Like they fly him up there to kind of help train everybody. And but he was a comedian. He didn't really, the Hooters was just to pay the bills, and then he got a lot of side projects from that. Like because he was such a likable, fun. I'm talking about like he was. He still is, but he just doesn't live in L.A. Likable, fun guy. Like we went to a Toby Keith concert. No, we went to a taping at Jimmy Kimmel show, and so you got to imagine this big brother, black dude with dreads, but with a cowboy hat. And when Toby walked by, everyone's waving and stuff, and then Toogie's like, Toby, and Toby stopped what he was doing, went over and like shook his hand. Like Toby, I'm mixing the names up, Toby and Toogie, but Toogie would just like. Everybody loved Toogie, man, and
So Toogie liked Toby, and Toby liked Toogie.
exactly. Toogie was just a cool dude. Like he had the hookup on everything, and for a while he worked at Santa Monica Hooters, Pasadena Hooters, and then he worked at the Hollywood Hooters, or at Hollywood and Highland, and all the different celebs that would pop in. They knew him from comedy.
Yeah.
They knew him he's just a gregarious guy. I think that's the right word. Very friendly, gregarious guy, and he always got hooked up with like hockey tickets and this that to this premiere and this and that and where am I going with this story? Oh yeah, so he it's like a Cinderella story, man. He started dating a Hooters girl, and which is kind of funny because he wasn't really a big fan of the Hooters girls because he got to really know them, and he was like, man, at the different stores, like sure they look good, but he said that guys were constantly bringing him teddy bears and this and that and gifts, and he kind of saw the it's like a behind the scenes at maybe a strip club or something, like
Right.
you're kind of like you guys are but anyway, so but there were definitely some good Hooters girls. Like I remember one.
There was some good.
Yeah. I remember this.
Hooters girls with a heart of gold.
A heart of gold. Yeah, this girl. I forget her name, but I remember she got out of Hooters and went to the police academy, became a cop. She actually moved to Fresno, and I remember I did a show and she brought her son, and he had it was cool. I remember her because she was a cool person. Who wasn't just like I'm sexy. She was like actually like cool, and she had a redheaded son. So I was like, oh, it's so cool. I was a redheaded kid once.
Yes, you were.
So my point is, yeah, he ended up he was a cook at Hooters. He dated a Hooters waitress. They fell in love. They got married, and now I believe they have 3 beautiful children. They have 3 kids, and they live in Pennsylvania. And he's doing comedy out there. And yeah, that was a little Hooters history there. Toogie, if you're listening, we love you. Come back to LA for at least a tour.
Toogie.
Toogie, I know it was funny. He said that people call him all the time, and they never ever, no one ever got his name right. They'd like, hi, is Turkey there? Is Cookie there? No, it's Toogie, 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 Toogie. But man, we were.
Well, I'm sure he made wings for me at some point, whether I knew it or not, because I would go. I used to do a show out in Santa Monica in a bowling alley with Craig Coleman and Sally Mullins and a few other people throughout time.
Oh, nice.
But it was a block over was Hooters, and it was the only thing open when we were done, so all the comics would go to Hooters afterwards. And they treated us great. They were really nice. It was a lot of fun. And one time, the comedian Andrew Solmson, big guy, big into tech support, like really computer nerdy sort of guy.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to invite everyone, and it didn't seem like his cup of tea, but I thought, what the hell, let's invite him. And I was like, Andrew, you want to come with us to Hooters? And he was like, I've never been to a Hooters. I would like to do a blog about that.
Oh,
and I was like, okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Come and have fun with the rest of us. And so we started having wings and everything, and he's having just the time of his life because he's never been to anything like this. And then, I didn't think we had a shot with any of the girls or anything like that, or even like the single girls that were there.
Right.
But, you still want to look somewhat cool.
Yeah.
halfway through eating, I'm not kidding, he whipped out what I thought was his wallet. I thought, oh, he's going to offer to pay, and that's sweet.
Hmm.
And he starts unfolding it and keeps unfolding it. And the next thing you know, he's got a computer right there at the table that he has unfolded. And he starts clacking away, typing, blah, blah, blah. This is me. And I was like, Andrew, what are you doing? And he goes, I'm blogging about Hooters. Like I said, I was like, you do that shit at home. Put that away right now.
Yeah.
We already look nerdy enough. Just don't.
I'm blogging my experience. Yeah.
I was like, this is not the time.
That's hilarious because at first I thought you said vlogging, like with filming it, which would be kind of weird too. But
yeah, but
know,
no,
like,
he's writing a blog about it.
Yeah, that's even worse. Let me put on my writer's hat.
But he's a really funny comic and a really sweetheart of a guy. But that was the one time that I kind of came down on him.
That's
about
funny.
Something.
Whenever I would, when Toogie would say like, "Hey, swing by this one," like whenever San Diego or whatever, or I'd walk into the place with him. I always liked the experience more because people would just be themselves, like just regular people.
Yeah.
The one time I went to Hooters without him, and it was in Sacramento, and a buddy of mine wanted to go. And I was touring. I was at one comedy club. He was at another comedy club, and he lives in Indianapolis. And he goes, "Man, let's meet at Hooters, man." He goes, I got my passport, and I need to go there and get my Hooters passport stamped. Because I guess he goes to different Hooters around the country. And I was like, okay. So I remember we went to Hooters, but there was just a bunch of alarms going off outside. Hopefully you guys can't hear that, but
I can't hear it.
So we went to Hooters, and it was a totally different experience than what I was used to. Because usually you go there and they're just regular, and they're being nice. Would you like a burger? Do you want fries? How's your day going? Just like a normal experience. This was more like, oh, there's 4 guys. We were all the comics, and it was all the headliners and the features. And the waitress was, came over and really turned on the whole charm of, with the little bubbly voice, like, "Hi guys, how's everything going?" And dude, it was annoying as hell. I swear to God, because I wanted to just catch up with my friend, and she kept popping around like, "Never mind me." And I remember she turned the bar stool upside down, and sat on it, and kind of straddled it, and started rocking like she was riding a bull or something. And she's like, "I've got a competition coming up this weekend. Never mind me. I'm just gonna practice, you guys."
Jesus,
it was like, leave us alone already. And then my buddy wanted ranch dressing, and then I didn't realize that they upcharged, so everything was like $2.50 here, $2.50 there, $1.75 if you want this, $1. And it was, man, I was like, I do not, this was not, it wasn't fun. I was like, I don't really like this. And then I remember that night I went to Denny's after the show, and the waitress was probably twice her age and probably twice as heavy. And but I really enjoyed the experience much more because I think she was like a lot more genuine. And at one point I had like a sore throat or something, and she goes, "Honey, I got some lozenges. Would you like one?" And she gave me a lozenge. It was just like, man, like this. I prefer Denny's than the Hooters thing because I don't.
Yeah, that's when you realize you've matured a little bit.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, yeah.
But let's talk about something else. I do not want to do a whole Hooters episode.
Exactly. I don't
want this to be known as the Hooters episode.
Oh, exactly. Oh, I got one for you. Can I tell you this thing real quick? When you said Robin Williams raised some money to put a new roof on I almost said Robin Williams raised money to put a new roof on Hooters, but on the Comedy Store, and dude, this rain is insane, man. This is like what we needed, but it just like didn't stop.
I'm sick. If I hear one more person tell me, "Oh, we need this rain," I'm gonna punch them right in the mouth because we don't need it. A few farmers need it.
Right.
The rest of us, I don't care about having a lot of rain. I don't want it. I don't give my portion of rain to the farmer.
I'm like, you know what? Let's do.
And we don't get it anyway. It all gets sold to Pepsi or to some other company anyhow. So it's like no matter how much we need it, we still need it. You know?
Yeah, right. I think like Nestle or something. But I know. Here's how selfish I am when it comes to rain. I'm like, why couldn't it rain like after hours? Like like maybe from like 2 a.m. to like noon or
Yeah, it's got to
something.
ruin the whole day every day for like 2 weeks now.
I know. And I think we've had like this light rain where you could still go out and do something like you just, you park, you go to the front door of a store. It doesn't really bug you. This is like downpours of thunder and lightning. And here's where it really hit home, dude. We got a leak in our living room. I don't know.
Oh
Did
God,
your place hold up?
my place, yeah, it's
Oh,
fine.
dude, we got this leak and it wasn't terrible, but it was, we come back from the farm and my son goes to play his piano and all the keys were like making weird noises and we're like, what's going on? And we thought, well, maybe it's too close to the window, like condensation, so then we bought a cover for the piano and luckily it's covered over warranty and they'll either replace or fix it. But they I noticed a little puddle of water, like a very small, like a tablespoon of water, was on the cover, and I told my wife, I go, "Wow, this cover's good. It works. there's
Yeah.
water." And then she's like, and then both look up, and we discover there's like dripping. It's like drip, drip. It wasn't condensation. It was an actual drip. And we're like, "Oh,
Oh
yeah."
man.
So then we had the guy go on the roof, and then they were telling us to like drill a hole. And then my wife looked it up and then said, yeah, take a screwdriver and poke a hole. That way, at least the water has some way to escape. It doesn't spread out and like your whole ceiling comes down.
Yeah.
And then last night, get this. So my wife goes to bed. My son goes to bed. So finally, there's no noise in the house, right? The TVs are off. The computers are off. I take my headphones out and I hear what I thought. I couldn't tell if it was a completely different drip or if it was a really loud clock because I heard this really loud ticking. I heard tick, 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 tick. And I'm like, damn, that clock sounds louder than normal. And I'm like, uh-oh. And I walk over and I investigate. And sure enough, there was another spot that the roof was, like the ceiling was leaking. Tick, tick, tick. But that one we think was easy to fix. That might have been like an air conditioning or a heater vent type of thing that might have been clogged or something. But
Yeah, you gotta get on anything water related. You kind of got to get on it right away because you don't want mold and all that stuff.
yeah, I mean, we've been using the blow dryer on hot and stuff, trying to dry it out and all that good stuff. But yeah, and the roofers are coming over to fix it. So hopefully they'll do their thing. I took my. How about you? Did you have to drive anywhere in the rain?
Um, yeah, a couple of times, but it really wasn't that bad for me. There are a lot of people in California that do not know how to drive in the rain, and that's what makes it dangerous. Is
Oh
the
yeah.
rain itself is not so bad. It's the people freaking out about the rain.
Oh
You
yeah.
know.
Dude, New Year's Eve, I had to drive from, you know, like the Burbank, North Hollywood area over to Ventura and on the freeway, and that was like insane, man. It was I'm going 40.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too fast, but even on the freeway on the 101, which by the way, this like they shut it down last night. That's how flooded the freeway got flooded. Like they shut it down both
Wow.
directions. So yeah, there was a couple of spots as you're on the freeway, you see in the car ahead of you go boom, and water splashes up to the left and to the right. Like the water was
Yeah.
pooling on a freeway, which normally you wouldn't see that. You might see it on a little back road or something, but I was like, this is insane. So on New Year's Eve, I had to drive in that kind of rain. And there's this one part where you go downhill, like by Camarillo, and you're looking at the guardrails, and then there's a point where there's no guardrail, and the way the
Oh
rain it starts
no.
going sideways, and then there's diesels all around you, and water splashing from the northbound traffic. But I'm on the slow lane. It's like I was like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go slow. I'm not gonna, you guys can go around. At one point, I put my hazard lights on and was going about 35, 40 in the slow lane, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, it ain't worth it just to speed and spin out. I've seen that before. It's ugly when you see someone spin out.
Yeah. Well, you probably don't want to be on the freeway at 30 or 40 miles an hour,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, in general, that is
Oh yeah.
scary.
Well, when I say 30, because there's cars that were going like 55, they feel
Yeah.
invincible. I'm like, yeah, you gotta, no, no, don't do that. And then, but I'll tell you one way that I do feel a little invincible when it comes to the rain is, I bought a raincoat a few years ago. Like I never had a raincoat. Like I have coats that would be water resistant, and you
Yeah.
can be out, but they'd get wet. I got this raincoat, and man, between the raincoat and an umbrella, and then I went to Walmart and got some rubber boots. Man, you, you're you, you're like, bring it on.
And it's always the thing that, like, once you get all that sort of gear, that's when the rain clears up.
Exactly. I'm
You know,
like,
like once you have the full suit of armor,
yeah,
you
I know.
know.
Like knowing that the rain was coming, I was like, I'm gonna go to like Runyon Canyon or Griffith Park. I'm gonna go out there. But then when it was raining like cats and dogs, I was like, I ain't gonna walk around in no rain like that. That's just insane.
No, no, that's crazy. You get struck by lightning or something.
Yeah, like if it's a drizzle, I'm like, and if it's you know what I mean, like a drizzled and it's gone in 30 minutes, that I could deal with, but not a real downpour. We ended up walking at the mall yesterday because I like to stay active and get a little exercise. So I took my son to the mall. We did our exercise there, but I just dressed normal. I didn't wear all the rain gear.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to wear it in the mall.
Yeah, it's like clunk
Look like a
clunk.
lunatic. But yeah, what I've been doing is I'll go to Frank and Sons and just walk around in there and just do any shopping I want to do, but then just kind of walk around the perimeter to get my steps and stuff.
Oh, that's good. Frankensons. That's the one you were telling me. It's out near Pomona, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and that, or I'll just go to the mall, and just do the same sort of thing.
Do you have a couple different malls you like going to?
Uh, yeah. The problem is a lot of them are outdoor sort of places, like Third Street Promenade or like Century City. They're good malls, but they're outdoorsy malls. And like Century City, the floor is like marble tile, like
Mm.
smooth marble
Oh,
tile. So
fancy.
if it gets wet, you're just screwed,
Yeah, yeah. It was really fun hanging with my son at the mall, and even just seeing his face light up when I suggested. I go, hey, later I'm gonna go to the mall to get a little exercise. You want to go with me? He's like, yeah. I was like, because I go, is your homework done? I mean, can we go? It reminded me of like growing up in the '80s. Like you'd meet your buddies. That was a big thing to go to a mall. And
Yeah. I'm very much of that generation where like going to the mall was a big deal and it was the big social thing. You didn't have like social networks and stuff, so that was the best way to meet people with similar interests. Like, if you liked video games, you literally went to the arcade to play video games with other people,
oh yeah,
or
yeah, because they had like
or
like you said, they had the outdoor. I think the outdoor mall probably came first, right? Those shopping plazas, but then
like strip malls. Yeah,
yeah, but then when you got the indoor mall, that was like,
yeah, that was people. I think if you grew up after the 80s,
mm,
it's just not quite the same. Like your experience with it isn't quite as enchanting, I guess,
right. Like
But like we grew up in the time where like department stores had coffee shops in them.
oh yeah.
You remember that? Like
Do they still have that? Like Nordstrom's, doesn't they have like don't they have like a coffee bar?
now they'll have like the modified version of it. They'll have like a Starbucks or something.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like a
You know?
Newberry's or like a Woolworths or something.
Yeah, like back then though, you could have like it was like having a Denny's inside of a store. They would have like counters where you could sit and have breakfast or lunch or whatever,
Oh, I used to love that. Yeah.
and then you could shop. And it was like back when they did the whole Santa's Village at Christmas time, where it was like this huge sprawling display,
Mm.
and places like that always smelled like popcorn because they would sell like popcorn they would have like a whole snack area, you know. It was just a totally different experience than shopping is now.
Yeah, when I was growing up, there was we had two malls, and there was the Manchester Mall and the Fashion Fair. Which one do you
Yeah,
think was better?
Manchester Mall sounds like it was better.
See, that might have been better like in the early years, but I believe, but when I was growing up, Fashion Fair was the good one. Like that was like the good mall. And then and now if you go by Manchester Center, it's I think they've converted it into like adult schools or something, like adult education.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's weird. Growing up, it was like Gottschalks and these different department stores. We'd always
Our
get like,
malls in Aurora, Colorado were all very lofty
mm,
titles. Like, well, there was Aurora Mall, was pretty normal, but we had the Buckingham Palace Mall. We had Cinderella City, which was 2 levels, and the lower level of Cinderella City was done to look like an English, like a British street, where it had
nice.
like cobblestone and gas lamps and stuff like that. And there was a place in there called Nathan's Physical Whimsical.
Mm.
And then they changed the name to Funtastic. And it was a place for kids that had what they boasted was the world's largest teddy bear,
Wow.
which was 60 feet tall, I believe. Or it may have been 30.
But it was huge.
To a kid, it seemed like 60 feet tall. And kids would always try and climb it and get hurt.
Oh.
And it had like a cave that you could run around in. There was a room where they had like glow in the dark panels and a black light that would turn on and off. And what you would do is you'd run up to the panel and make some sort of weird pose. Then the black light would go off and you'd get away from it and you would see your silhouette on the wall.
Oh, wow.
So there was all sorts of weird, cool shit. And they had this kind of like air ducts, but for kids to play in, that had like tunnels.
Oh, kind of like that movie Die Hard.
Yeah, it was very similar to Die Hard. You would crawl around in these tunnels like 40 feet off the ground, but they had like portals where you could see below you and stuff like that. It was crazy.
Wow.
And they had a ball pit.
So I'm reading this. It says the first retail complex to be promoted as a mall was in Paramus, New Jersey's Bergen Mall.
Paramus.
Paramus, there you go. The center, which opened with an open-air format in 1957, was enclosed in 1973. So and then that kicked it off. It said enclosed shopping centers spread across the U.S. at a rapid rate. By 1960, just 4 years after Gruen's first, there were 4,500 malls in North America, and by 1975, there were 16,400 shopping malls in existence.
Okay, aside from the major stores like your Sears, your J.C. Penney's, and all like that, what were some stores that you've toured around the world?
Yeah,
we've both been to 1,000 malls easily. What are some of the stores that you think it's not a mall if they don't have this place? I'll give you my first one.
Okay.
That I would say this is like number one. If your food court didn't have an Orange Julius,
yeah,
it's not a mall.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. You said I couldn't say department stores, but I'm sorry, but if I always think Macy's for some reason, if it has Macy's, I'm like, it's a real good, it's a good mall.
It's a mall.
It's a mall. It's a
real mall.
Real mall. It's not like just a bunch of stores you never heard of that are on their way out. Like,
yeah, it's not some bullshit mall.
Yeah, closeout sale. You're like, and you know what, man? I don't know what's going on with Macy's, but I went to this one part of Macy's. And I told my son, I go, do you think this stuff is good or crap? Because it looked like a bunch of junk. It almost looked like you were in like what's it called, Burlington Coat Factory or like a Ross,
right?
Or like that kind of vibe. And it didn't look like a Macy's. It looked kind of bad, but it was this one section of Macy's. And I looked up as we were leaving that section, and that section is called Macy's Backstage.
I've been to Macy's Backstage, and it's awful.
You know what I'm saying? You're like, what the hell,
It's all
Macy's?
just like, it's all their clearance stuff, just mushed together.
It's like, some lame Father's Day type gifts, and all that kind of stuff. You're like, this is not Macy's. But yeah, man, they when we walked around the mall yesterday, I noticed that Sears is gone. Bed Bath & Beyond is on its way out the door. There's a few other places that are like, what the heck? Maybe because it was a rainy day and we went on every single floor we could find. The mall got really kind of boring after about an hour. Like wow, there's a lot of clothes thing. I mean, it's still open enough to there was some fun stuff in there, but it got,
But yeah, it's not quite it's nowhere near what it used to be.
There's no
But
record stores. There's no bookstores. I used to love the record stores. Was a great draw at a mall, or bookstore.
well, yeah, like Suncoast Video, that used to be fun. Sam Goody,
Yep.
they used to have those.
Tower
But
Records.
yeah, Tower Records. What was the restaurant in the mall? It wasn't a restaurant. It was Fur's Cafeteria.
Oh yeah.
That meant you were at a real mall. But that was like for old people.
Oh
But
yeah.
for like kids, there was. Do you remember Round the Corner?
No, I don't think we had that.
Round the Corner was a burger place, but you had a phone at each table,
Oh, cool.
and you would literally phone your order in.
Wow.
Like they didn't have waiters, and you didn't go to the counter. They were like, no, sit at the table and call us when you're ready to order.
I saw something on Happy Days once, which I thought, when you're a kid, you're like, that's the TV is your window to what you think the adult world will be like. And I
Right.
remember there was an episode where they were at a diner like Mel's or something, and each table would have a phone and a phone number, and you could call like other tables and call girls and be like, "Hey, we're table 13. How you?" But I never saw that in real
Yeah.
life though. I don't know if that was just a TV thing or what.
I think they had that at some places, but not a lot. But
Well, nobody was ringing
Round
my
the
phone
corner.
ever. My phone was just not ringing.
yeah, that would suck if you had been at a place like that your whole life and didn't know it. You were so not popular.
I know it sounds like that kid off of what's his name off The Simpsons, the guy that always has his
Oh, yeah.
fingers no.
Our friend, yeah.
Yeah, like, can you call my number? I gave this girl my number and it ain't. I don't think my phone's working.
Will you make my dinner for me?
Yeah, yeah. It says during the 1980s, malls were thriving with large anchor stores attracting droves of shoppers year round. Record stores were a mall mainstay during the 80s. The food court became the place to refuel and hang out with your friends in the 80s.
Yep.
Here's all these different questions. What was the golden age of malls? When did malls start dying? All right, let's click that one. When did malls start dying? Do you have any guests? Do you have any guests? Do you have a guess on when malls started dying? Hello, are you still there?
I would say 95.
So according to this, yeah, that's it says the massive change. When did mall start? The massive change led Newsweek to declare indoor mall format obsolete in 2008. The year 2007 marked the first time since the 1950s that no new malls were being built in the U.S. Wow. I wonder why.
2008 seems a lot later than I expected.
Yeah. It's no secret that online malls is becoming increasingly popular. So people are just shopping online from the comfort of their home and such a wide range of products available. But I still like to do certain things, like, you know what I mean? I do like the walking, the walking inside. I like being around. I like being stimulated. When I'm on the road, I remember I used to love, like, during the day, like, I'm going to walk around the mall, because sometimes you'll just see like some kind of catchphrase on a shirt, and that may trigger an idea for a joke, or you may see, like, I don't know, there's something about all that stimulus that for me would, like, get something going.
A lot of it too wasn't just like what you were into, but seeing what other people were into, and like people watching and seeing like groups go into certain places, like all the goth kids going to Hot Topic, or all the nerdy kids going to the comic book shop. And, it was just interesting to be aware of what other people were doing, all the stoner kids going to the record shop and stuff,
Right. I remember I had this great joke for a while, and it was because I was at a mall and I saw a Harley Davidson neck pillow. There was like this Harley Davidson store. And when I saw the neck pillow, that just triggered this idea of like, who would get that? And then I came up with this great bit where I never would have if I didn't go to the mall. You know what I mean? Because the idea that I was like, who has that? And I thought maybe it's some guy who's like, yeah, my wife, she won't let me have a Harley, but I get all the accessories. I got my Harley Davidson belt buckle, my Harley Davidson motorcycle boots, and my Harley Davidson hypoallergenic double deluxe all-American feather-filled neck pillow. You know?
I'll tell you who would have a Harley
Yeah.
Davidson neck pillow.
Yeah.
Tahoe Joe. That's who.
I'm Tahoe Joe with Harley Davidson neck pillows. Come on down, put the code word party starter, and you get your
When he wasn't busy riding with the Hells Angels, he'd need some downtime.
yeah, some goose downtime. Get it, folks? No. That's hilarious. Downtime. Because I was like, it's funny. I did ask my dad that once. I said, hey, because I was performing in Lake Tahoe, and I said, hey, when you guys would go to Lake Tahoe on your biker runs, what hotel did you stay at? And he goes, hotel? We would just bed down on the ground by the campfire. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Like, I remember.
That doesn't sound as fun as
yeah, whenever I would try to.
the rest of it did.
Yeah, I'd ask him stuff about Harleys and this and that. And he goes, when we were doing it, it was really outlaw back then, like in the 60s. And he was like, now they got their Harley Davidson watches and museums. And, he just was like, he said it's just a different animal than, I guess, back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I think it's kind of like anything else. It's, you find a thing that you're passionate about, right? That you love. And you tell other people about it, and you get them to love it too. Next thing you know, those people have told all their friends about it, and so on and so on, and it becomes mainstream. And then the people that have any money to be made in that thing are now marketing to those people instead of you.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you're kind of on the outside of this thing that you love.
I know.
Like, for me, that happened with Comic-Con, where I was I loved going to Comic-Con, and it was, when I started going, it was really just me and, a couple thousand other people that were into it, and then like Twilight and Iron Man hit around the same time, and it just got monstrous after that and just became too big to contain.
Yeah.
To the point where most of those people that were coming up when I was going to it would have a very, very difficult time getting in now. Like they'd be hard pressed to be able to get tickets to go anymore,
Right.
But it's the same with like the Super Bowl or Fashion Week or WrestleMania. Anything that it just hits a certain level in the mainstream. Like one day your bumpkin activities, people might decide, I want to kick shit and smell a pig or whatever.
I want to punch tires and
that sort of thing. And all it takes is a couple celebrities tweeting about it. And the next thing you know, you can't get into the bumpkin activities.
Damn it. It's so funny that happens. It's like how something just takes on. I remember when I had my album out in 2016 called The Party Continues, and I got this bright idea to have stickers, and on the sticker I'd put a QR code. And at that time, not a lot of people knew what QR codes were, and it almost looked like I was just handing them an advertisement, and they just weren't interested in it. And I remember I was talking to Dean Del Rey about that, and he goes, man, he's like, yeah, it looks like something. He goes, Jay-Z or somebody needs to make something happen to where everybody knows what a QR code is.
Yeah.
And then what happened was 2020 hit, and they went to like touchless menus, and now everybody knows what a QR code is. Right.
Yeah. It's like, and now I know what it is. I still am not wild about them, but I know what they are.
Right. Exactly. I'm not like,
It's like that. I think that it's technology. They have to find that threshold between innovative and annoying.
Yes.
It's a tough balance to figure out, because like most of the QR codes that I've ever scanned were just advertising, or just like something that you could have done otherwise, just scan our QR code for the menu. The time you took to print that up,
right,
put on the table, you could have just printed up a menu.
Yes, if
You know,
if I have that option of I'm like, no, please just hand me a menu. I don't need to scan the restaurant's
you just
code and
handed me something to read
type in my email. I'm
so
like,
that
no,
I can scan it to see something to read.
right.
You know, it's like when it's the redundancy that I don't care for. You know.
Oh, here's what I want to say. There's a country singer I really like, Bumpkin Activities. Here we go, another bump. His name is Tom T. Hall. He's known as the Great Storyteller.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard any music by
I've
Tom T.
heard the
Hall.
name. I couldn't tell you a song.
One of his biggest hits, I'm sure your mom would know. It's called "I Love," and it's the one that went like, you might know it. It went like, it goes like, "I love little baby ducks,
Oh
old
yeah.
pickup trucks."
I didn't realize that was him, but yeah.
Yeah, he's great, man. Okay, so one of the songs, and he wrote this at the height of the malls. The song was written in 1986, and the song is called "Down at the Mall." And it really, you know what I mean? It's like he just kind of sums up what he saw at a mall in 1986. And here, I'll read some of the lyrics. Mama can't find a babysitter, so she drags the kids along. There's a salesman with a quota to meet today, or he'll be gone. There's a Mooney selling roses to a Baptist in the hall. You can see it all down at the mall. There's a wino begging quarters trying to drown the past. A 3-year-old at the pet store with her nose against the glass. There's an old man on a pension with his back against the wall. You can see 'em all down at the mall. It's America.
I don't think you can see a wino begging for change inside a mall. Maybe outside.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You don't really see that in the mall. You see it outside the mall, but
That's kind of the whole point of a mall, is to not have to do that.
exactly, to kind of get away from those winos.
Yeah.
I love this line. It's America in motion. It's a portrait of the times. We're blue light special heroes in a land where freedom shines. There's yuppies, guppies, puppies, and a sale on basketball. You can find them all down at the mall. Young couples stare at a wedding ring they know they can't afford. There's an Asian refugee with a big old ice cream store. A policeman buying candy for a little child who's lost. You can see it all down at the mall. There's a grandma shopping early. I know I can just hear you going, bullshit, none of this happened.
Yeah, there's a lot of it that's like, I don't believe
You're like,
you.
really? There's
I don't
cops
believe
buying
this
ice
line.
cream for people. This is 1986, so maybe back then cops were
Right.
buying ice cream for, okay. There's a pedo buying ice cream.
Yeah.
No, here we go. There's a grandma shopping early. There's a grandma shopping early. There she's digging through the toys. Young girls at the record store, they're making eyes at boys. There's a weekend daddy with the heart as big as Santa Claus. You can see 'em all down at the mall. Oh, there's a weekend daddy with the heart as... Oh, I gotcha. He only gets the kids on the weekends because they're divorced.
Yeah. That's the 80s for sure.
It's America in motion. It's a portrait of the times. Blah, 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 blah. I love that song. It's when I hear it, I'm like, oh, it's so cool. It just pictures that people watching vibe, you know?
Yeah. Okay, now who was the biggest draw musical act in a mall in the 80s?
I'm going to say Weird Al Yankovic.
My guess would be Tiffany.
Yeah, it was Tiffany. Tiffany, right? You're right. That girl. She did a mall tour.
It was a brilliant idea. It was maybe the smartest idea in the world.
Oh my gosh, you're right. The little redheaded girl.
Yeah. Just the fact that we both know her name, even
I know.
This many years later.
I'm going to look up Tiffany Mall Tour. Yeah, Tiffany Mall Tour, 1987.
Yeah.
She began at June 23rd, 1987. 15 years old, Tiffany starts her mall tour. Wow. Oh, there's a picture of her with the little red hair.
Crazy. Yeah, I thought for sure you would know.
Yeah. I was kidding. I was trying to be funny with the Weird Al thing. I couldn't think of a funnier thing. But yeah.
Weird Al actually, like, that's not a bad guess. Like, for that time period.
Right.
If he had played malls, he would have sold the fuck out of Tiffany. You know?
Yeah. 1987, 15 years old. I think we're alone now. That was like her big hit. But
yeah.
Well, Mike, I got to get ready for a show. I got to hop out there. Thank God the rain has rolled away.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking a part of your day and joining the Pocket Party podcast. And you guys check out Mike. He's on Instagram, and he's always posting fun stuff.
Yeah, and I'll be announcing my mall tour shortly.
Yeah,
So,
I know. That's awesome, man. Hey, you guys, thanks again for checking out the Pocket Party podcast. And Mike, let's regroup and do another one soon.
yeah, and remember to fall into the gap.
Oh, yeah, baby.
I'll see you later, Darren.
You got it, man. All right, bye. Well, look at you. You made it all the way through. By the way, if you guys want to donate to the show and help it move along, go to darrencarter.com, hit that PayPal button. Also, I'm on Venmo, and I'm on the Cash App. All the links are below, so check out the links. And if you want to do something just doesn't cost you a dime, give it 5 stars on Apple and give it a little review. And if you really want to do something that takes almost zero effort, share the link in all your socials. Share the link. Say, hey, I like this podcast. It's good. And other than that, you guys have a great day, and we will talk soon. Don't hurt nobody. Be careful. Get your push-ups in, man. I've been doing my push-ups. Even if it rains, I still get the push-ups and the sit-ups in, and I tell you, it makes you feel good. All right, y'all. Have a great day.
Everybody listen to Darren Carter. We all know he's the party starter. So if you want to listen to a podcast for free, then listen to the Pocket Party.